Alright, what is up, guys? We are back with episode 7 of the Witcher lore. Now we will be talking about the second half of the whole Rivian Massacre. Seeing Yennefer, Ciri, Triss's reaction to Geralt possibly on his deathbed. I don't know. We'll find out, right? So just a couple little housekeeping things. I'm gonna go out and say that this is probably the last Witcher lore video for 2017. Just because next week I'm not even gonna be in my state. I'm not even gonna be in the country. I'm taking a week-long vacation, so I won't have access to any of my equipment and my computer and stuff like that. So yeah, I think it's pretty safe to say that this is probably the last Witcher lore video for 2017, but that definitely doesn't mean that this is the last one ever. Like, there is so much more to talk about, and 2018 should be an even better year in terms of just, Witcher lore and stuff that we need to talk about. So definitely looking forward to that. But in terms of this year, this is probably the last one. So yeah, with that out of the way, let's get into this one, because this is this video I think is gonna be heartbreaking. If my writing and the way I can present this video is good, I think this is gonna be a heartbreaking one. Yennefer, Ciri, and Triss rush into Rivia at a breakneck speed. Ciri leading, of course, far ahead as her Kelpie leaps over the panicked people. As the three entered Rivia, Yennefer takes notice of the bodies thrown into the gutters, corpses hung by their feet on posts and stakes. She saw dwarves being beaten down to the ground with sticks and the ends of broken bottles. Screaming and howling pierced her ears. While galloping, Yennefer realizes that her daughter's vision will lead them directly to the heart of this madness. She shakes out of her thoughts, turns to notice a band of non-humans desperately defending a barricade. Ciri rides on ahead as Kelpie flew over the barricade with ease. However, both Yen and Triss stopped, reining in their horses. Now, also, I want you guys to kind of take notice of the unicorn in this beautiful artwork, because the unicorn will come into play later on in this video. So yeah, just take notice of that. It's been very important in that unicorn specifically has been very important in the series story, and it's going to continue to be important in this specific moment. So yeah. So, Yennefer gets pulled out of her saddle by the mob. She falls on the ground and is hit multiple places on her body. One person stands over her and prepares a lofty kick, but of course, this is Yennefer we're talking about, so she won't take that easily. She retaliates by spraying blue fire on not only him, but the people in front of her as well. The smell of burning flesh was all that remained. "Witch! Sorceress!" someone shouts out. So Yennefer just shoots fire in that guy's face as well. Triss grabs her arm and tells her, "We need to leave this place, Yen," in a tone of voice Yennefer has only heard once before, at the Battle of Sodden Hill. A battle where Yennefer saw and witnessed many of her friends die. A battle where, for Triss, she literally fainted just from the fear. This was a tone of voice engulfed with fear, and Yennefer screams at her saying that you can leave if you want to, but I will not. For I have something to protect. Something I hold very dear to me. The crowd dissipates in terror before the black-haired sorceress's lightning that shot from her eyes and hands, looking like an angel destruction. "Be gone," she yells, lashing a whip made out of fire, "or I will brand you like cattle," she says. Some of the crowd takes up arms by throwing rocks at her. One hits her square in the face, and Yennefer blacks out. Now we are treated to a flashback with Yennefer and her mistress, the sorceress, Tissaia de Veris. I really probably butchered her last name, but yeah, we got a little flashback with those two. And I'm gonna read you guys some of this. Yennefer wakes up groaning in pain. "You didn't succeed," said Tissaia, sitting beside her bed. "You didn't succeed, but not because you didn't try hard. You cut well and deep. That's why I am here with you. Had it only been silly games, had it been a foolish, irresponsible demonstration, I would have nothing but contempt for you. But you cut deeply, purposefully." Yennefer looks up at the ceiling vacantly. I shall take care of you, girl, because I believe it's worth it. And it will require a good deal of work, oh, but it will. I'll not only have to strengthen your spine and shoulder blade, but also heal your hands. When you slit your wrists, you sever the tendons. And a sorceress's hands are important instruments, Yennefer. You shall live, Tessaya's voice was a matter-of-fact grave, stern even. Your time has not yet come, but when it does, you will recall this day. I shall take care of you, Tessaya repeated, gently touching her hair. And now, we are alone here, without witnesses. And no one will see, and I shan't tell anyone. Weep, girl. Have a good cry. Weep your heart out for the last time, for later, you won't be able to. There isn't a more hideous sight than a sorceress weeping. Okay, so I really love this flashback for many reasons. Just seeing that, like, wow, Yennefer actually, you would assume, I mean, I would probably say obviously this is when she was still a hunchback, because Tessaya even says we will have to strengthen your spine and your shoulder blades, so obviously she's still, again, I'm assuming she's still probably she was still probably a hunchback if Tessaya said we have to strengthen and change some things about your body. So yeah, showing, but yeah, just the fact that she tried to kill herself, and Tessaya saying that if this was just, you know, you joking around, this was just a foolish little demonstration from you, I would probably hate you. But the fact that, no, you cut deeply with the intent to actually kill yourself, I will take you under my own care because I believe it is worth it. And I thought that was really awesome to see that. Like, we have gotten a little bit, like in Time of Contempt, I believe, with, you know, just like Yennefer and Tessaya's relationship, just a very little bit. But again, it's really nice to kind of reinforce that idea, just to see how much Yennefer looked up and regarded Tessaya the Varese. You know, basically, I guess you would call the closest thing to a motherly figure Yennefer ever had in her life, and I thought it was really cool, just to get that, you know, and then not even mentioning the fact that, if you guys remember, Geralt, when he got impaled, he gets his flashback of, he remembers Ciri in her trance telling him that he's going to die by way of something with 3 teeth, right? That will be his undoing. And now we get to see Yennefer, not exactly in the same way, but Tessaya literally tells her, when your time comes, you will remember this moment. So it was like, oh my god, like, Yennefer is going to die too, I'm guessing. So I really liked how Sapkowski handled that, seeing like both of them remembering, or I guess just both of them coming to the realization that this is their time. Yennefer wakes up to see Triss dragging her limp body out of the rabble. Yennefer tells her to hurry up and teleport us out of here, but now it's Triss's turn to take a stand, as this time she won't run away and she won't faint from fear like she did at Sodden Hill. Now in this particular moment, I found it really interesting how these two are kind of flipped from what they were earlier. Like, Triss, in the beginning when they first got to Rivia, Triss was the one saying, we need to get out of here, and Yennefer was saying, no, I won't run away, I have something I want to protect. But now it's flipped, where you have Triss saying, no, this time I won't run away, and it's Yennefer saying, we need to get out of here. Now we have Triss raising her arms up, and she begins to shout a spell. Yennefer would later join her in what records would later call Marigold's destructive hailstorm. The clouds darkened and opened up as hailstones the size of eggs rained down on the entirety of the town of Rivia. People scrambled in terror, just trying to find somewhere to hide. But of course, many of them were not so lucky, as they would end up being impaled either way. Yennefer conjures up a shield at the last second for the both of them to withstand the storm just running rampant all over the city. Eventually the storm would stop and the crowd flees. And funny enough, peace would reign over Rivia as the army kind of steps in and starts whipping and shouting at the people, trying to get order restored in Rivia. But at the end of the day, 200 mutilated corpses remained, and of course the entire city was like in shambles due to Marigold's destructive hailstorm. Now that everything had settled down for the most part, right, we had the army that came in to kind of try to restore order in Rivia. We go back to Geralt. He's surrounded by Dandelion, Zoltan, Yarpen, Yennefer, Triss, and Ciri. Everybody is there, right? So Geralt is completely unconscious, white as a ghost. He actually begins to shake and tremble so hard that Ciri couldn't hold him down. Yennefer kneels beside him, and Triss notices that her best friend's hands were trembling. "Your magic isn't healing him at all, Yennefer," Ciri says gravely. We arrived too late," Yennefer replies. But she says it with difficulty as she finds the words really hard to come out of her mouth. "Your magic isn't working," Ciri repeated. "So what good is your magic then?" Triss agrees, thinking to herself, "You're right. We can summon hailstones, but we can't drive death away? What good is our magic then?" "We sent for a doctor," one of the dwarves said. "It's too late," Triss chimes in. "He's dying." Geralt trembles again, coughing up blood. He tensed, and then he went still. Dandelion sighed in despair, and the dwarf swore. Yennefer groaned, and her face suddenly changed, contorted, and grew ugly. I think this was the moment that made me start crying. Like, I'm tearing up right now, man. Just like, Yennefer, like, you guys know the whole thing. There's nothing more pathetic than a sorceress crying, right? And like, I don't think we've had ever seen in the entire saga, have we ever seen Yennefer cry, right? I don't think we have. And like, this is it, like, finally seeing her. I mean, not to say like this is a thing I've always been waiting for, but to see Yennefer actually crying was like really tragic to me, because it's her coming to the realization, like, there's nothing else I can do. I can't save the love of my life. Like, this is it. And that really hit me hard. Like, wow, like that's it. And just the way that he wrote it too, just like her face contorting into something ugly, like, oh my god, it's chills, man. It just gives me chills. "There's nothing more pathetic," Ciri says sharply, "than a weeping sorceress. You taught me that yourself, but now you're pathetic, really pathetic, Yennefer. You and your magic, which isn't fit for anything." Yennefer doesn't respond. How could she? She repeated spell after spell after spell with quivering lips while holding Geralt's limp head in her hands. This, however, exhausted the sorceress, and in the middle of one of her spells, she collapses alongside Geralt. You could hear Zoltan swearing, and Dandelion sniffed, holding back tears. Ciri blames herself, citing if she hadn't renounced her powers, she would have been able to heal Geralt. But it's too late now, and she can't do anything about it. Now, all of a sudden, a fog envelops the lake next to them, and a unicorn emerges, gracefully raising its head and stamping its hoofs. Dandelion and Triss watched in awe, completely struck dumb, as it shook its mane and neighed melodically. So yeah, this is the unicorn that was in the picture that was in the video a little bit earlier. But essentially, I mean, this unicorn has been instrumental in Ciri's story, just from her being kind of stranded in the desert in time of contempt. This unicorn, throughout actually this entire book, Lady of the Lake has been with her, jumping between the worlds, just trying to outrun the wild hunt, trying to help Ciri get a better grasp on her powers. Like, this unicorn has been with her literally through thick and thin, I would say. And it just so happens that it's come in another very important moment. "I'd hope you would come," Ciri says. Ciri touches its glowing horn, and her eyes begin to light up. Triss calls out to her, but she cannot hear her. She cannot hear anyone. With one hand, she grabs a hold of the unicorn's horn, and with the other, she points towards the Witcher. The unicorn points to a boat that emerges through the fog, and Ciri asks for help. Dandelion was the first to understand, as he picks up the still unconscious Yennefer, and he was surprised at how light she was, almost as if someone was helping him carry her into the boat. Now, no lie, as I was writing this video, just going over and rereading this entire part in the books, I, no lie, did not remember this particular moment, so I'm gonna read it to you because, like I said, I didn't remember it, so reading it when I was writing it made me tear up because I was like, holy crap, this actually did happen. Like, I didn't remember that. So yeah, let me read this out to you guys. So Dandelion could have sworn that he saw somebody was helping him. He could have sworn that he could feel Kahir's shoulder beside his arm. Out of the corner of one eye, he caught the sight of a flash of Milva's flaxen plate. When he placed the sorceress in the boat, he could have sworn he saw Anguleme's hand steadying the side. Sapkowski, you bastard, man. Like, why do you have to do that to me? It's probably, like, I don't know how you guys feel about it, but, like, whenever you have, like, that classic cameo from, like, people who died, like, I don't know, to me, that's always, like, the easiest way to hit me in the feels, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, I'm a sucker for that kind of stuff. I know it's overused, but I don't know, it just works for me, I guess. But yeah, like, just rereading that, because like I said, I honestly did not remember that Dandelion actually saw Milva, Anguleme, and Kahir, helping him put Yennefer into the boat. Like, I totally forgot about that. And I was like, holy shit, dude, like, are those tears in my eyes? Like, god damn it. But yeah, I thought that was really cool seeing that. Just like, I guess all of them coming together to help send Yennefer and Geralt away into a better place. So now this kind of similarly happens to the dwarves and Triss as they're carrying Geralt into the boat. Yarpen swears that he has seen the Dahlberg brothers. Zoltan sees Caleb Stratton help him lay the Witcher into the boat, and Triss sees, well, she swears that she could smell the perfume of Letta Nied, who was also called Coral, and she also weirdly enough sees Cohen from Kaer Morhen, which, well, first of all, this confirms yes, he did die, but I don't know, I found that really strange that she saw Cohen. Like, I don't know, like, did they talk that much in Blood of Elves? Like, I feel like not too much. I wonder, like, my question is, I wonder if they had have they had any encounters before Blood of Elves, maybe? I don't know. But then again, I don't necessarily think that Triss and Cohen had to be the best of friends in order for her to see Cohen there putting Geralt into the boat, because I think what matters is that these are all people that have been tied to Geralt and Yennefer in some way or another, just coming together to send them away, I guess. And then I guess if you want to be technical, like, Triss and Ciri are really the only people in this group that have met Cohen, so I guess, yeah, that does make sense why she would be the one to see him. But yeah, I don't know, I guess I just wasn't expecting Cohen at the last second to be there as well, and Triss to see him at that. So I was really, not in a bad way, but I was really taken aback by that. I was like, wow, I actually really like that Cohen was included in this scene, because we literally haven't heard hide or hair from him since Blood of Elves, I think, right? So, I mean, just getting a little mention of him was good, because I really did enjoy the little bit we did get from him in Blood of Elves. Like, he and Ciri spent like a surprisingly a lot amount of time together. I don't think that came out right. A surprisingly good amount of time together is what I meant to say. But yeah, I was really surprised by that. And yeah, I just really enjoyed Cohen and Ciri's relationship in that book specifically. So it made me really happy just to get a little bit more of him in this scene. So now with both Geralt and Yennefer put inside the boat, everything is ready to send them away to wherever they're gonna go. Ciri tells Triss to apologize to the ladies of Monte Calvo, specifically, obviously talking about the Lodge of Sorceresses, because their whole well, obviously before Ciri came to meet with Geralt, she was meeting with the Lodge, and she had promised to them, let me just see Geralt one more time, and then I'll go be the 12th member of the Lodge, right? Or at least work up to become a member of the Lodge. So obviously that is void now because she's gonna go away with Geralt and Yennefer. So she says, apologize to the ladies. It can't be otherwise. I cannot stay when Geralt and Yennefer are departing. I simply cannot. They ought to understand. Triss replies, they ought to. Farewell then, Triss Marigold. Farewell, Dandelion. Farewell, all of you. And now this was really interesting. Like, this is kind of Triss, like, in a nutshell to me. Like, always the odd one out. Not in, like, I don't hate Triss. I'm definitely not saying that. Like, if I'm being honest, I like Triss way more in the books than I do in the games. That's another topic for another video. But this is always what I've thought about Triss. Like, just her being the odd one out. This is what she says. Ciri, little sister, let me sail away with you. Ciri replies, you don't know what you're asking, Triss. Will you ever? For certain, Ciri interrupted. So then, basically, like I said, this is just Triss's character in a nutshell to me. Just sums it up perfectly, how she's just the odd one out. Like, she wants to go away, sail away with them. She wants so desperately nothing more than to be a part of this family. And I don't know, she's just the one that's kind of left out, you know. I find that she is definitely more left out in the books than I would say in the games. But then again, even in the games, like specifically Witcher 3, were there ever any missions that was just Ciri, Triss, and Geralt? Like, I don't really remember. Like, if there was ever something that involved Ciri, Triss, Geralt, I feel like Yennefer was there as well. As opposed to Geralt, Ciri, and Yennefer, there were a couple missions with just those three characters. You know what I'm trying to say? So, like, Triss is always the one to me in that specific group that's kind of being pushed aside. But for obvious reasons, right? I mean, that is, like, the relationship. Like, it's Geralt and Yennefer, no question, I feel like. So yeah, for obvious reasons, I totally understand why she is the odd one out. But yeah, I just thought that little exchange between Ciri and Yennefer, like, was telling. Like, it just laid the cards out on the table. Honestly, just Triss wanting to go with them, and Ciri just saying basically, like, no, you know. So I don't know. I'm interested to see if you guys had the same, like, feeling, if you guys feel the same way about Triss. I honestly did not want to make this video a Yennefer versus Triss thing, but I guess I kind of did. But yeah, I don't know. That's just that. I just found that little exchange interesting, like I said. So Ciri, Geralt, Yennefer are all on the boat. She begins to paddle into the fog, and she disappears. Triss thinks to herself, she lied to me. I'll never see her again. I'll never see her because something ends. Something has ended, said Dandelion. And something is beginning, Yarpen Zegrin chimed in. Alright, so that's basically the end of the video. Yeah, very... Geralt and Yennefer died. Well, here's the thing. I was thinking about doing a separate video of what happens to Geralt and Yennefer after this, because Ciri brings them to this island, and there's so many theories, and I would definitely love to talk about them. Like, are they in purgatory? Like, did they really die? Like, where did Ciri leave Geralt and Yennefer? Because they eventually wake up on this mysterious island. They have no idea where they are, but all they do know is that they are together again, and that's all that really matters. So it's weird because, you know, we want to know, like, where are they exactly? But I mean, seemingly, does that really matter when they're together? You know, they are happy. They have, I guess, everything that they need on this island. So yeah, I mean, I think I would love to make a separate video about that, just thinking, like, what do I think about that ending? So, ending thoughts. I'm gonna be completely honest. This whole entire Rivian Massacre, the Rivian Pogrom or whatever, blindsided me. I did not expect this at all, because it starts off with just Geralt, Dandelion, and the two dwarfs, Zoltan and Yarpen, just at an inn drinking. Right, Geralt literally hangs up his Witcher sword. He retires. And then also the fact that okay, so Witcher 2, we know that Geralt died. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't play Witcher 1, so like my thinking was, okay, Geralt's death happened in Witcher 1, and maybe that's why he was talking about it in Witcher 2, or why he was starting to remember his death in Witcher 2. So yeah, I completely didn't know that his death actually happened in the books. So I was totally expecting everyone to get off scot-free in the books. So yeah, this completely caught me by surprise. And then when that moment did happen, when he did get impaled by the pitchfork, I was like, holy shit, his death happened in the books. So it shocked me. I don't know how I feel about Sapkowski ending. I mean, obviously he can end it however he wants to. Like he's a writer, right? It's his body of work. Let him do whatever he wants. But I I don't know if I disagree or agree with him killing off, essentially two of his biggest characters in the last book, in literally like the last 50 pages of the last book. Like I don't know how I feel about it, but then again, I think it made perfect sense for Geralt to go out like this. Like, being a Witcher, to me at least, like when you die, like no Witcher's ever died in his own bed, right? Like Witchers, when I think about them, like they will never have like a heroic death, or something that is worthy of like a good death or something like that. I feel like I remember tracking down the Witcher armors, specifically in Blood and Wine, and finding out some of the stories of the Witchers who wore those armors and like how they died. And like 9 times out of 10, it was in like really awful ways, just like their bodies to never be discovered, like their stories to never be found, unless you're another Witcher, I guess. But just like dying in the most unglamorous ways, and I feel like that fits the bill of what like a Witcher in general. Like they do very like dangerous work for terrible pay, and nobody really cares about them or looks to them as human, right? So just seeing Geralt just dies such a I don't even know what the word would be, like a bland death. Like he was just stabbed to death by some farmer guy. It like made sense to me, because this character is always risking his neck out for other people. And I don't know, I guess this was just the time that it was just one too many times, I guess, for him. And it resulted in a death, I think, that made sense for a Witcher. Like I said, they just don't, in my mind, they will never have a glamorous, or like to go out in a blaze of glory. Like that's just not what a Witcher is, to me at least. Like to me, I think they will usually die in ways that, like Cohen, like nobody will probably know how he died, right? Like he's just swept under the rug. So I think that encapsulated what a Witcher, to me at least, means, and I thought that was executed really nicely. In general, everything was really, really sad. I hated it. Just seeing those two in particular go out like that really sucked. Yennefer crying, man, like ugh, like that was really hard to read. But yeah, I mean that's basically it. I mean, I'm sure I've cried like many times reading this saga, but I specifically remember, I mean, this entire scene was heartbreaking to me, honestly. And then also rereading it, and because I totally forgot that Dandelion sees the Hansa, Milva, Angoulême, and Kahir helping put Yennefer into the boat. I totally didn't remember that. And so rereading it, that scene in particular made me tear up again. So like, Yeah, there was a lot of stuff I liked in here. Really tragic. It always seems that like a character, whenever he retires his profession, that something awful happens on that specific day. So like maybe characters should stop doing that. But yeah, it was tragic. Like on Geralt's fucking retirement day too, man. Like this all had to happen. Um, yeah, Rivia just had to blow up into a fucking massacre between humans and non-humans. God damn it. But that's basically it, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. I don't know what I will talk about next, but we will find out soon enough. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.